Listen to the scroll.
Welcome everyone to today's episode of the Scroll Podcast with your host Luke
and Amay.
and our special feature Katie Kim.
Hi.
In her news article, For a Culture of Connection, Harvard professor Alison Wood Brooks visits Deerfield. Katie, you mentioned in your paper that Brooks argued the structure of everyday conversations and how even the smallest improvements in interaction can impact relationships between individuals. She encourages the act of conversation despite it both being difficult, enjoyable, and complex due to the opportunities offered to feel connected, loved, and heard. How do you think this connects to our school's bigger picture of a phone-free lifestyle?
I think Dr. Austin implemented the phone-free lifestyle for Deerfield this year to have all the students interact with each other and students interact with faculty without our phones, and just to focus and orient our attention to the conversation that we are having at that moment. And I think Alison Wood Brooks' theory of conversation and all the teachings in her book Talk pretty much aligns with what Dr. Austin was trying to envision for a Deerfield lifestyle when he implemented the phone-free system. And I think the phone-free system has been working pretty well with Deerfield. I've been seeing more students talking to each other on Albany Road, in the dining hall without our phones. And I feel like the conversation itself between individuals have elevated so much from the phone-free lifestyle. And I definitely saw a lot of improvement with students not using their phones even after study hall, for upperclassmen. And they just realized how important it is and how essential it is to communicate with other people in the dorm, and just to leave our rooms and talk to people rather than just staying in our rooms and doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. So yeah, I feel like the phone-free lifestyle is going great, and what Dr. Austin wanted Deerfield students to get from the phone-free lifestyle is really having a great impact on all of us.
Great, thank you. And also specifically to Deerfield, something that's interesting is that as upperclassmen, which are juniors and seniors for us, we're allowed to have our phones for a lot more hours compared to underclassmen who can only have it from, I believe, 3:30 to study hall essentially, right? Or after co-currics now. So past 7:45, they have a very limited amount of time with their phones. So as underclassmen, it's important that we set basically good habits for underclassmen. And is there anything you think we should aim to implement or demonstrate to underclassmen?
Yeah, so obviously upperclassmen have much less constraint than the underclassmen with our use of phones. And I think upperclassmen should serve as a model for the underclassmen to how to use our phones wisely. So for instance, me and my friends in my hall, we barely use our phones after 10:30. I'd say for me, I just talk to my friends from across the hall from 10:30 to 11, instead of just looking at my phone trying to contact my friends who I talked to 30 minutes ago in the library or something like that. And I try to get as much conversation as possible when I'm in the dorms, and really I try to limit myself from looking at my phone, doom scrolling on my bed. And I try to keep my phone outside my sleeping area, so I always put my phone on my desk, which is the furthest place from my bed. And at 11, I try to go to sleep without looking at my phone or anything. And I feel like underclassmen are practicing this because they get their phones in the phone tank,
The
phone
box.
locker. Yeah, phone locker at 10:30. And when they become upperclassmen in the next year or 2 years, I feel like they will be able to really appreciate that time without their phones after 10:30, and how important it is to not look at our phones before going to sleep, because that's when the real conversation could happen between you and your dorm friends or your dorm parents, So yeah.
I definitely agree, because when I heard about or when I listen to Alison Wood Brooks' speech, one thing that she often um, emphasized was that conversation is an adjective, and it's difficult, it's fun, it's scary. And something that I've been realizing is that we have conversations all the time, and sometimes I don't think about like what that conversation really means. But after Alison Wood Brooks has come here, I'm really remembering that conversation is extremely important. And as you mentioned about after 10:30, you talk to your friends now instead of going onto your phone. Something that I found myself doing as well is that kind of conversation, especially in the dorm after check-in for us upperclassmen. And I don't know, maybe you can talk more about your experience, but I definitely agree with Katie on that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's really hard also to implement these habits because I feel like, especially coming back from breaks, we develop pretty bad habits using our phones, whether it's doom scrolling, and it can be hard at first. But I feel that with the like culture and community Deerfield has, it's a lot easier to adapt, especially because if you see your friends, like Luke was saying, talking with other people or not on their phones in general or on their laptops, then it's a lot easier to kind of transition into, I would say, more of a focus state, which is away from your phone.
And Katie, also in your paper, you mentioned that Alison Wood Brooks is encouraging us to limit the use of technology because she's saying that there's more value in face-to-face communication than behind a screen. You also say that I think that I've been using my phone less because of the phone ban, but also because of what Alison Wood Brooks said about communications. I know you already talked about this before, but do you have any notable moments or any messages that Alison Wood Brooks said in her lecture that you really find yourself implementing in your life?
Yeah, definitely. I remember Professor Brooks talking about what a good conversation is like. So remember when she showed us like the TV show,
Yeah,
The Bachelor, right? And there was this scene of like a woman and a man on a date, and the man was the one asking constant questions while the woman was just answering the questions without like adding on to those questions that the man asked her. And the questions that the man asked weren't even that like conversational. They were just like out of like observation from what the woman was wearing and stuff like that. So they weren't really having a good conversation, which is what Professor Brooks was talking about. And I found myself in situations where I was in a room with like one other person who I'm not that close to, and I just I'm just like forced to start a conversation, you know, because it's awkward. And I would just ask the other person like how's your day been going? I don't know, like what's your co-correct, or those really like bland questions, you know. And then but then from what Brooks was saying about what a good conversation is like, which includes like if I ask someone how was your day and they say like it's been great, and I can ask them what's been so great, like asking them what made their day better, like why their day was good, just adding more like empathy and curiosity to that person really elevates the conversation, is what Brooks said. And from her teachings, I was able to implement the question strategies, as she said, in real life conversations afterwards. And yeah, it just really helped me to get to know the person that I'm talking to more, and just elevate the conversation in general.
Great, Katie. And I guess, is there anything else you'd really want to say that you think didn't come through in the article, or maybe something that you'd really want to talk about?
So if you see in my article, I interviewed 2 underclassmen, Charmaine, a freshman, and Henry, a sophomore, and they both talked about how the cell phone policy helped them as new underclassmen. And I really wanted to shed light on that because, well, for upperclassmen, like we have our phones for the majority of the day. Like we're not really the main targets of the policy, I should say. But I think the cell phone policy really proves that it hasn't been beneficial to the students, because underclassmen, who are like the main targets of this, are responding to this policy with such positivity and with such good feedback. So I feel like the cell phone policy is an extremely beneficial and like evocative system that Deerfield should continue to do in the future.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. I think you brought some great insight onto your article.
Thank you. And if you want to check out Katie's article, make sure you visit the Scroll newspaper, or you can see it on the website. And we hope you guys tune in next week for another episode. Thank you.
Thank you.